What's going on, world? It's me, Andre Catnot here from West Palm Beach, Florida. So in this video, I want to show you exactly how I prepare myself for the upcoming week and show you some of the key levels that I mark out before the market open back up. So, but before I dive deeper into that, I took a good trade on BTC today, and the reason why I took a trade on BTC, let me get this out the way, is I was following the higher time frame trend, like on the 4 hour. As you can see, we was creating higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So I was actually I took a counter trend trade, and I was expecting price to pull back, right, to make that pull back into this level right here, and price did just that. All right, so I was expecting for price to come all the way down here to create a potential higher low to create a new higher high. Okay, so basically that's how I was looking at it, and I just went ahead and just took a counter trend trade. So I broke it down to the 5 minute. You can even break it down to the 15 minute, but when it comes to the 5 minute, I was just waiting for price to break below this yellow dotted line, which is the daily VWAP. All right, I use certain tools on TradingView like the Anchor VWAP, and I was just waiting for price to close below it, because how I look at it is whenever price is above the daily VWAP, that means buyers are in control, and then when the price is below the daily VWAP, that means sellers are in control. So in this case, price is below the daily VWAP, so that means sellers are in control. So I basically was just waiting for a price to come right below that, and then I was going to enter. I already knew that there's going to be a counter trend. I knew that price was going to pull back. It has to make a pullback. It just ain't going to just go up in one straight line. So I knew price was had to make a pullback, but I was just waiting for price to close below this daily VWAP. And once that happened, I got in the trade, and as you can see, perfect trade to the downside. Now, I'm gonna talk a little bit about this too. We also have, if you join our community or join my Pacific team, we have a an indicator called Pip Juice. All right. So if you were now, I didn't use Pip Juice today, but Pip Juice was going in my direction. So if you'd have got in a trade with Pip Juice, let me show you guys something. If you let's say that you'd have got in a trade on Pip Juice, right? You see where it says sell stop entry. We have a indicator that makes it easy, and it tells you when to get in and where you should target it. So in this case, where it says sell stop entry, you just all you got to do is just set up a pending order, a sell stop pending order, and target whatever take profit you want to take target. And if you're to target TP3, you would have won that trade, as you can see. All right, so this indicator makes it a lot easy to make money in the financial market. So if you're a type of person that's still trying to learn how to trade but still want to make money in the financial markets, use this, join my community so you can be able to use this same indicator that our community are using to catch some good moves in in the markets. But yeah, I made a great move on BTC, won that trade. Now let's go ahead and talk about exactly how do I prepare myself. So I like to trade the indices. All right, I like to trade gold. I like to trade Bitcoin. I like to trade the metals. But let's go to here right here, and I want to show you. Let's take off this indicator here real quick. Let me take off this indicator, and you see I got multiple indicators. I use different indicators for certain things, but what I like to do is I like to mark out certain levels. All right, and one of the levels that I like to mark out is the previous weekly highs and lows. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I mark up my key levels on the S&P 500 chart, and then I'll go ahead and end the video there. But I just want to show you exactly how I mark up my charts. So what I like to do is I like to figure out what was the highest point and the lowest point between Monday and Friday, and mark out those key levels. Okay, so in this case, Friday was the highest point that price went to last week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out my previous weekly high, and I'm going to use this rectangle tool here, and I'm going to start from the wick to the body. All right, and then now I have my previous weekly high. And sometimes I like to drag it in the past, but this is the highest point that price went to in history. So there's no other point to look back in history. But I like to mark out my previous weekly high, which I just did. Let's move this out the way. And one, two. Remember, I'm looking for the lowest point and the highest point between Monday and Friday. So Monday was the lowest point. So what I would do is I'll go ahead again, take my rectangle tool and start from the body. All right, from the wick to the body. Boom. Now I got my my previous weekly low. And then sometimes I like to draw it back in the past and see, if price rejected this zone in the past, and which it did. As you can see, there's a rejection here, there's a rejection there, rejection here, rejection here, rejection here. So this area right here on the bottom right here is a pretty strong zone here. So I'm gonna drag it in the future. That way we can use it. Now I got my previous weekly high and I got my previous weekly low. Previous weekly high and previous weekly low. Now, what I want to also do is I want to mark out my previous U.S. session highs and lows. So when I'm trading like indices like S&P 500, U.S. 30, Nas 100, I like to mark out my previous U.S. session highs and lows. So um, what I'll do is I'll look for the lowest point, right? 8 a.m. was the lowest point. That's where I have the U.S. session starting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark that out. The same way how I marked out my previous weekly highs and lows, I'm going to do the same thing for the previous U.S. session high and low as well. So I got a template for that as well. Let me go ahead and do that. And guys, if you want to learn my full trading strategy, you want me to teach you one on one on how I trade, all you got to do is just be a part of my team. And not only are you going to get access to me, but you're going to also get access to different trading indicators, trading bots, all types of value when you join my team. But yeah, anyways, but I got my previous weekly low now, my previous U.S. session low. Now I want to look for my previous U.S. session high, and then I can see it right now, right at this point right here. It's going to be my previous U.S. session high. All right, so I'm going to drag that out. Boom. Now I got my previous U.S. session high and low. And that's what I do. That's what I do to prepare myself. Now I may also go on the higher time frame to figure out what type of trend I'm in. And as you can see right now, we are in an uptrend right now when it comes to the higher time frames, like the 4 hour. We're creating higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So now going into this week, I'm expecting price to pull back. All right, pull back a little bit. So that's what I'm expecting. Doesn't mean it's going to happen that way, but I'm expecting price to pull back to create that potential higher low to create that new higher high. Okay, so um, so I like to look at the higher time frames. I even look at the daily too to figure out the higher time frames, and then I also look at the 1 hour, and I also like to go with the trend on the 1 hour too as well. So if the price is creating higher highs and higher lows on the 1 hour, then I may look for a counter trend trade to the downside. So I want to take account, maybe look for a price to come back into this U.S. session high and then come back down to create that potential new higher low. Okay, I may even sometimes I even throw in the fib as well too to see where price could come to and reject to. And I like to draw it from if there you have to when it comes to using the Fibonacci, you have to wait for a big push. So in this case, this was a big push to the upside. So I'm going to use my Fibonacci retracement up here, and then all I want to see is price to pull back either here to that 38.2 and then go up, or price to come up into that 50% level and go up. These are all price reversal levels right here, or that 61 point. Well, and then if not, then what I would also look for is price to come down here to that 78.6. Okay. And those are the levels that I'm going to be looking to potentially catch some buys off of. Or if I'm taking a counter trend trade to the downside, then I might want to take the trade down to one of these levels and get out of the trade. Okay. Because right now we are in an uptrend on the higher time frame, and we don't want to, if we're going to take a counter trend trade to the downside, you don't want to hold the trade long. So it's going to be a short term trade to the downside. So um, usually I take my entries on the 5 minute chart. Let me actually, yeah. Usually I take my trades to the on the 5 minute or the 1 minute. Sometimes even on the 15 seconds. But yeah, this is what I do on a daily, well, not on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis, like especially on the weekends where I like to prepare myself for the upcoming week. I like to draw out my previous weekly highs and lows. I like to draw out my previous U.S. session highs and lows. And then there's one more thing that I like to do. Let me also get this off the chart here. There's one more thing that I like to do. I like to go on the 30-minute chart, and I like to mark out some more key levels. I like to mark out my session volume profile key levels, right? And then I like to mark these levels on the 30 minutes. So this yellow line right here on this session volume profile, this right here will be the point of control. Point of control just means that this is where the most trading volume taking place for that day. So I like to mark out these key levels. I don't keep this session volume profile on my chart because I don't want too much noise on my chart. But as you can see right here, this red line right here, this is gonna be the volume area low. So I'll make that red. And then up here, where you see this green line right here, this is gonna be my value area high, and I'll make that green. And then after I mark that up, I'll just simply take it off my chart. And then now I have even more key levels that I can use to take trades off of or take trades towards to. Okay, so hope you guys got some value. But if you just do this on the weekends and prepare yourself for the upcoming week, it'll just make your trading week a lot easier. And you can use these key levels to take trades off of. You can use these key levels to um, take trades towards to. But the main thing that I would do is just mark out your previous weekly highs and lows, and then also mark out your previous U.S. session highs and lows, and then the session volume profile. When it comes to the session volume profile, all you got to do is just use it to mark out these key levels. The only thing that you want to do when it comes to the session volume profile is to mark out the value area low, mark out the point of control, and then mark out your value area high, and then take it off your chart. And then when the market opens back up, you go to the 5 minute chart, and then you can kind of figure out where when it comes to my strategy that I teach. If you guys want to learn exactly how I trade, you want to learn my full trading strategy, just all you gotta do is just hit me up and let me know. But for the most part, the only thing that you got to do is just be a part of my team. Um, I'm in a company called Akashex. Akashex is an educational platform that teaches people how to trade forex, futures, crypto. But once you join my team, and you can join my team by clicking the link in the description box below. If you're watching this on YouTube, you click on Get Started, and all you got to do is just choose the trading travel package. And by the way, you get a free 100K challenge when you join my team as well. But I recommend, going with the 3 months, 6 months, or annually if you don't like paying monthly, and you'll get a lot of value for choosing that. But with that being said, guys, I hope you guys got some value. I'm gonna be making more videos like this, showing you guys how I'm trading, and what key levels that I'm using to trade off of. And like I said, if you really want to dive deeper into my trading strategy and you want to learn exactly how I trade personally, all you got to do is just be a part of my team. Okay, and you can click the link in the description box below right now and join my Koshex team, and you'll have access to me, and I will teach you this stuff. All right, one on one. So with that being said, I'm Andre Ketton out here from West Palm Beach, Florida. I will see you guys on the internet. Take care, y'all.